Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review, Better Call Saul, Season 4 premiere, Episode 1. The episode is called Smoke, and I'm smoking a sandwich tonight to talk about this episode of Better Call Saul. I'm excited for this show to be back, and I'm very excited to be back here on the podcast tonight to talk to you guys. I'm not alone tonight. I'm lucky enough to have with me my co-host, the lovely, the wonderful, as always, Joe Dirty Locks. How's it going, Joe? Yeah, it's great to have Joe. I'm doing really well, Joe. I'm a little tired today, which was an interesting aspect coupled with this episode that I think was made to make me feel uncomfortable at times. But we'll get into this in a second and get all up into this episode. And I think it delivered on what I wanted it to deliver in a premiere, and we'll break this down. It's very interesting to think how they're going to move forward for the rest of the season, but we have a long time to get into this. We're not alone. We also have with us the live fucking chat. We got DJ Better, Corey, we got Sam, we've got so many other folks popping in and out here throughout the evening. K Rich, welcome back to all of our Better Call Saul fans. If you're new to us and you're joining the fun for the first time, please jump into the live motherfucking chat. That's the live chat right now, and share your thoughts about this episode right after you see it. And if you're watching this later, jump in the comment section listening to the podcast. Come join the YouTube channel and watch us live, or leave a comment about this series. So what I like about Better Call Saul as it's back is that the show doesn't rely on magic tricks and big, huge explosions to happen to satisfy me in a premiere. Was this episode a most exciting episode of Better Call Saul? No, but Better Call Saul isn't an exciting show. And even at its best at times doesn't really push, I'm really excited about what's going on. No, it's clever. It's interesting. It has good scenes between actors. And did we continue that in this episode? Character studies. And do we continue that? Absolutely. This whole episode was a character study. There's the beginning half of the episode where some people might feel more than others. That's probably my favorite part of the whole episode, because it's the sequel to Breaking Bad, and we're actually getting more and actually get to live in the universe post Walter White in the world, which is really fucking exciting to me. And then we deal with the whole Chuck thing, which is very serious, real-life stuff. There's a lot of moments where this show could have taken a crazy, over-the-top route, and they almost stop, look at the camera, and go, not on our fucking watch. We're not going to do that stupid thing right now. With the car, with Mike in the car, where the guy's, like, starting the car. For some reason, I'm like, oh, the car's good. For some reason, my instinct with television today, I'm like,
going to blow up.
Yeah, Joe, exactly. The car is going to blow up. It's going to happen. But no, it's far more clever. Why are we meeting this guy? Why are we spending 3 minutes on this useless character just to set up a Mike scenario? Yeah. And I fucking love that shit. And I was very satisfied by this episode because it feels like I'm seeing a friend I haven't seen for a while. The camera angles right from the beginning are next level intense. The music suits the scene. It doesn't overpower it. It's never about the music. It's about the music fitting against with this perfect harmony of fucking bullshit. Yeah, I'm on the ground. I'm licking Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould's labias right now.
There's a lot of smoke. We can blow up the ass of
and
this show.
And I have one piece of bad stuff we'll get to a little bit later too, but great episode, and not the greatest episode of Better Call Saul, but I in general was very happy to have it back. Joe, what are your thoughts of this episode, and why am I right?
This episode, you are absolutely right. This episode is just like every other episode for the show. It's fantastic writing. It's compelling. It's gripping. It makes you sit on the edge of your seat. There's nothing going on. You're watching Jimmy fucking mope with sad face for 20-30 minutes of this episode, but every second of that, you're not bored with it. You're intrigued by it. You feel for him. You feel for his girlfriend. You feel for fucking Howard. and then you get the fucking old bastard, and you feel for even that kid, that guy who did it to him, because he didn't want to, and he's got tough decisions and it's a tough road and all that shit that he's now opened himself up for, but it's interesting. I like it. I think it's great storytelling. I think it's great writing. I'm glad there's so much about this show that I'm glad has happened and is happening.
It's just it's so unique in the way it tells its stories nowadays in television. It's not relying on a lot of, again, tricks and magic. It's just straight up theater acting ultimately on screen with this amazing cinematography coupled with it and top-notch editing.
Each shot is almost like a photograph, a story in itself.
Yeah.
There's so much story in the way it's shot that goes along with the acting. You're absolutely right. It's a good call.
It's great. And live motherfucking chat. Oh, we got the walking David who said he worked with Ernesto. Great to see you, David. Random fact, I worked on a TV pilot with the actor that played Ernesto. Corey, it tells a story rather than depending on magical flying zombies shooting unicorn farts. What could you possibly be talking about it? Sam says, I'm not a fan of Cinnabon and Saul, but that was my favorite part of the episode. Montgomery says, slow as fuck, but keeps me so tuned in. Exactly, Montgomery. And that's the thing. So many people say, Joe and I complain sometimes about, our show's too slow, our show's too slow. When you're The Walking Dead and you're in an action show, and I'm not going to talk about The Walking Dead, but you want to feel like you're in the edge of your seat because of the action and the spectacle.
You can get that. You can get that without having to fucking throw a tiger at us,
right? But in this, show,
I'm on the edge of my seat for this.
But that's what I'm saying. In this show, because of the universe it's crafted for itself, it can satisfy with something much smaller.
No, The Walking Dead can too. They did remember the winter. The winter, you came back and it was winter and it was silent. And they were moving house.
Remember the Alamo, Joe. Remember the Alamo.
Yes, remember the Alpo and the
Alpo.
I know Alpo.
Oh my goodness. Mike says in the live chat, you guys love The Walking Dead. Where's Negan taking reactions? Come on, dirty cocks. Where's Negan's reaction to this episode? Cocky locky, dude. Looking good, Joe, says The Walking David. Hannibal, great to see Hannibal. Peter Griffin, all of our good friends in the live motherfucking chat. Can we turn up? I will turn Joe up a little bit over here. Thank you, guys. No, I got you, Joe. I got you over here. I get your fucking volume right up. I think you just unplugged yourself or something. There he is. Joe's.
Hang on.
Oh shit! Stop it, Jerry Lewis. Actually, you're going in and out, Joe. You're going in and out.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. I think you unplugged. I think you fucked with your mic cord or something. You sick fuck. Sick fuck. Fucking with your cords. Thank you, though. Hey, Steph. Hey, Steph Snow. Great to see you. So am I alone in thinking this is the last season? Corey Mitchell, you are not just alone. You're wrong. Season 5 has already been announced. So they already announced it has been confirmed for season 5. So there will be, and they haven't said that season 5 is going to be the last, but I highly speculate that season 5 is the last. I don't think they're going to go longer than Breaking Bad.
There's not much more they have to, to give us, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm even thinking for this whole season, where we're going to exactly go this whole season. And we'll break this down at the end because so much of, and I'm not worried, it's just so much of what grabbed me through the first 3 seasons of this show were the Chuck Jimmy dynamic. It's going to be interesting to see how they replace that. I have a feeling that they're going to give Nacho a lot more material. They're going to lean on that character more in the narrative, and I don't necessarily mind that. He's excellent in all the shit that they end up giving him to do. So I guess let's not waste any more.
Oh yeah, I've been up for like 30 hours or some shit. No, 30 something, 30.
So, but that's actually a good.
Hours.
That's a credit to this show in a sense, Joe. That a slow show can keep your interest and keep you awake here to be here.
I've been up since about 8 o'clock last night, right? And I didn't sleep at all today after work. I was really sick. I'm still feeling pretty nauseous. And this show had for what? The first how long did it take before you even got like a fucking word out of anybody in this
and that's the fucked up thing about this show, Joe. They do it without words. And Justin, and I want to always bring out like criticisms and shit of stuff we like and people
Westworld put me out fucking 4 times.
Or rag on shows that I love. I'm all for that shit. I mean, nothing's sacred when it comes to entertainment. You gotta be, if you like something, you have to be willing to take people ragging on it, to defend it, or to challenge challenge your opinion on it to really figure out what you like sometimes. It's fucking true. If you can't take criticism about something, oh, Joe, I'm never going to watch Westworld because Joe doesn't like it. Oh, I can't deal with it. Oh, fucking no. Oh, fucking no. Shit. It's rooted by...
I've destroyed Westworld.
You've destroyed it for the world, Joe. But Justin says, this show is good, but how long are they going to take to set up the characters? I think if you're hoping that something big is going to happen and they're going to stop setting up characters, these aren't the droids you're looking for. This isn't the show for you. The show is all about fleshing out a Saul Goodman.
And characters changing.
Yeah, change in seeing how people develop. And so I think the end game of this series, we all know where the end game is. It's taking the fact that most prequel stuff has no balls to it, right? And automatically, I think even Better Call Saul in some levels with some of the Gus and the Mike stuff that I really like is deballed a little bit for me because I know how it ends. And because of that, it had everything, and it's not even, which I think this is the best prequel thing ever made, and I'll say that again, I think this is the best prequel thing ever made, still has some elements of prequel-itis. So to combat that, they know that, so what they're trying to do is create something different. Instead of it being about where the fucking story's going, it's about the people that are involved in the story, and it's a slow character study kind of piece that has comedic moments, action points, and can hit nostalgia at the right point. And they're trying to organize that all into a perfect fucking hodgepodge gumbo meal and mix it all together and deliver it to you and slow cook it and make it delicious. And it's gonna hit and it's not gonna hit, and some stuff's gonna fly by, but they're always working. So yeah. So I see what you're saying, but it works for me. It's not going to work for everyone all the time. And I know you're saying the show's good, but I don't think they're really ever going to get to that place where it feels like the end of Breaking Bad, where those last few seasons of Breaking Bad, where season 4 on, where action. I think it's always going to be in neutral, rolling down the hill. If that makes sense. So let's go to the live motherfucking chat here. Oh, bend over. Damn. So this is a weird episode for you too, Joe. Oh, Joe. These writers are concerned with telling the story, not how many seasons it will be. For your information, Joe line of work of being a lead singer of the Counting Crows.
Someone asked what I did for work. I work on the Lock Psych. I'm a mental health and drug addiction counselor.
Yeah, or proctologist, as Bernie the Burnt says. Either way.
Pretty close.
Either way.
Close guess.
Either way, you're dealing with a lot of ass or something like that. So let's continue down. I mean ass like the smell of ass. So
that is true. That is true.
We're anywhere where there's like a lot of people hanging out. It's or sleeping in the same area. The smell of ass constitutes. But speaking of ass, recap! Okay. So, wish certain writers focused on the story. Says Lindsay. Fucking dead. I have been wishing that for a long time, Lindsay. It's Assy. Hannibal. Great to see Hannibal O'Neill in the live chat. And I forgot to mention, we also have a voicemail and text line. If you guys want to get your voice in the discussion, you can do that. 781-990-8509. You think Joe and I are full of shit. You agree with Joe and I. You just want to say, hey, you guys. Hey. Say, hey, you guys. Whatever. Leave us a message. 781.
Sorry.
Oh, no.
Finish the
781-990-8509.
What was your favorite part of this episode? You said it was the
beginning or the very end. There was so much part, or there was also a section, the moment where it was a little cliche at the end, but where Jimmy and Kim are talking on the bench, and then and basically nothing's happened. They disappear, and then they just show the bench alone. But I think ultimately my favorite part of the episode is the way the beginning of the episode started, because for 3 seasons now, I've been saying I want more of the black and white Saul. We've gotten that little bit at the beginning, and we've always been like, oh, we're going to get more at the end. This was actually a real scene. We heard dialogue. We actually got to feel the character of Saul Goodman post-Breaking Bad. And it was filmed so well with the slight black and white sepia or whatever that shit's going on, the fast editing, the quick stuff, just the Cinnabonness of it all, and his fear. It reminded me a lot, and I said this in the notes, so I'll probably repeat this later. The Doors song, faces look ugly when you're alone, because he's so panicking. He thinks everyone's out to get him. Every situation he needs to look at, he's dealing with these eyes. Like, was the guy in the cab really fucking stalking him because he had the Albuquerque thing? Is that real? Was he somehow connected to Gus's family?
Anyone?
To anybody, and he recognized him? Or was that just in his imagination and we're seeing things through his perspective? All of those elements together made that section to me really fucking awesome. But then the Mike stuff was good in this episode too. Fuck, Joe. What was your favorite scene of the episode before we get into the recap?
You're gonna have to own it.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna at the end with
in the smile that as he's pouring that fucking coffee.
You mean the
smile?
The moment where I think that this episode, in a lot of ways, set you up to feel uncomfortable through the whole episode with Saul, with Jimmy. And I think what you saw in this episode was the last bastion of Jimmy die. And in that moment when he turns to Howard and he does that, that's Saul Goodman. That he's there, that's him. He just click, compartmentalize, move on.
Yep. He's going to be like, oh, right. It's not my fault. It is your fault.
Yep. Yep, it is. Exactly. Go. Is that the way I'm going to deal with this? Okay, I'll deal with it that way. And if you're going to be a manipulator and you're going to fucking think of the lowest common denominator, and if you're going to go to that place to survive, those are the moments you have to look for. You live for those moments. Oh, you're going to take the guilt off me here? Okay, fuck you. I mean, how he really feels inside is irrelevant, but in that moment, what you need to move on, and you can use anything. You can use anything that you need to make up and manipulate your own brain to say, I can deal with this. I'm gonna move on. Doesn't always work long term. Sometimes you can plug the dam. You can keep the water's gonna keep coming the fuck through. Eventually, that dam is gonna fall the fuck down, no matter how much gum you put there. But the gum's gonna work for a little while, blocking the water. It's all good, man. Let's go into the live chat. Fucking A. One thing I can say that got me hooked with the premiere is the direction they're taking with Nacho, said Lindsay. I don't know why I started to sing that. I was like, sorry, Lindsay. One thing I can say is like Frank Sinatra. No, sorry. I can say got me hooked with the premiere. And I was mentioning that in passing a few seconds ago. I think with Chuck being out of the show right now, and I think we might get some flashbacks, but with Michael McKean not being a main actor and a main focus of the show, they have to fill those scenes somewhere, and it can't just be with Jimmy and Mike. And I think Howard's probably going to be on the show a little bit less, in my approximation. So I think
I think we're going to get a little bit more Howard. I think he's going to sue Howard.
Ooh, I like that.
He's going to get all of his brother's fucking money and shares out of that fucking business, and then he might just turn around and fucking sue him.
He's definitely going to try.
You are responsible for my brother dying. Mm-hmm. You caused him.
You admitted it.
Better, and you admitted it in front of me and another lawyer.
And I have a witness. Nick says, I like Mike's character. I was so mad when Walter killed him in Breaking Bad. Mike was a nice break of comic relief in this episode. Mike was really in a good situation in this episode. Lindsay says, Mike Airman Trout is my spirit animal. Oh, we're going to get into that. I could taste those yummy Cinnabons, says Birdie. Delicious. And now winning the Joffrey Award of the most hated character is Lydia. Do you think the dam will break in the present with the Cinnabon world? I've heard that. I think the end conclusion of Better Call Saul between this season and next season needs to conclude in the future timeline. And I think it will. And I doubt they're going to do another Breaking Bad universe kind of situation. So I think they're going to close this all out next season the way they want to do it. And I don't know if it's Saul turning himself in. I don't know if that works.
I think that's what's going to happen.
It could easily be that. Or somehow we're going to see Jesse in that timeline. I know... For whatever it's worth, before we get into this episode, a lot of stuff's been talked about in the offseason. The Breaking Bad 10-year reunion happened, and Aaron Paul and Bryan Cranston have been asked thousands upon millions of times will they be on Better Call Saul. Both of them have said repeatedly, we are dying to be on this fucking show. It's just and Vince Gilligan keeps saying, well, I like to put him on there, but it's got to feel real. I can't just stick him on there and have him walk by. That would just be stupid. So he's trying to find it, but he's not just going to find a reason. And I think Jesse, I've said this before, Jesse makes a lot more sense than Walter. I can't see how you get Walter into it. Jesse, obviously because Walter's dead.
Car wash.
The car wash, but that's just a glorified cameo. That they don't want to do that. They don't want to do, hey, I'm Walter White in the background. They want to have a reason to have the characters in the scene. And I can think of...
I think that is real. Like, yeah, have a reason. There's
that's
no
so
reason
TV
that they've
cliche.
met. They obviously never met beforehand.
Dude, that could have been on our list of top television cliches. You happen to go to the place where the character's at the place, and it's
like that. But that's real, right? Like, what's not real about that? They're from the same fucking area. Like,
yeah, no, it's true.
Have you not run into people before like that? That like
no, and I will go in your direction here to say you always bump into the person you least expect, and it's always weird. Like, oh, whoa, hey, I bumped into you, but it's still not that super common. But you can definitely do Jesse in there. Lindsay says, I hated Chuck, but he was the only storyline I was truly invested in. But I think Nacho and Howard are going to hold my interest this season. Lily of the Fox Valley. How did Mike sign that birthday card? What name did he use? I wanted to rewind and watch that part again. I think he signed the name of the guy whose information he stole. I think Mike was smart enough to do that, or maybe he trolled it because he realized he could get away with anything pretty soon in that scene. Okay, so let's get into this shit really quick here. So more Breaking Bad stuff, sequel. We open up on future Breaking Bad, and we hear this old song that tickles me. Makes me scratch my nose. I'm like, ha, 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 ha. I love this shit. We three. And just you immediately know you're back into this fucking universe. Just saying that Jesse post Breaking Bad is probably batshit crazy. I'm gonna go with Phil on this one. It would be too TV to have Jimmy just pass by Walter at the car wash, like, hey Fonz, what's going on? Hey, I'm at the car wash. I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm sure if it's the last season and they can't figure out a real way to put him in there, maybe Mike has to go to a school meeting because of his granddaughter, and Walter is one of the teachers at the school meeting. That would make more sense than just walking into the car wash.
Granddaughter's what? No.
But it could be like the school system or some shit. I don't know. It could be the same school system. Whatever, dude. Well, I don't want to spend this whole time talking about Walter and Jesse.
Why can't it be? Why can't it be a true to life moment?
Okay.
Why does there have to be like some sort of more? I mean, we want it, but like, why does it have to be?
It doesn't, but I think I guess it doesn't, but I guess with Jesse, I can see how it could be.
I can see it being more than just like like walking by on the street is one thing, but like, fucking Walter White getting yelled at the car wash by his manager. Like while Jimmy's getting a car wash on the phone, happens to notice him during one of these introspective fucking moments where he's staring off into
the more you say that,
what's wrong with that?
The more you say that, the more I want it, and the same I want Badger and Skinny Pete to show up at some point in time too. But whatever. Now you're just tickling my nostalgia bone, and it's not fair. It's like offering me sexual favors and asking me questions. I'm distracted by the sexual favors that you're offering me. I can't think clearly. But you're right. I mean, it doesn't sound horrible the way you're describing it. So yeah, Joe. Yeah, Joe, tell me again, baby. So, Mike,
it's a scene that makes sense, that can fit easy, that isn't hard to explain what Walter's doing there. Like you get a little taste of it. You see where his frustration is at that time in his life. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm gonna go. I need to get a sound clip, and I'm gonna go with a yeah bitch for that one. Hey, great to see Killmonger in there. So we open up on the fucking Breaking Bad sequel. We hear the old song. We're back to the future here of Breaking Bad, present time, I guess, in black and white. We see Gene passed out on the ground after what happened at the end of, or last time we've seen him. The cops picking him up, asking Gene, "Are you all right?" And we see his perspective on the stretcher. And this is right at the moment where you go, okay, I see what kind of shit. We're back to the cinematography and the camera angles and the fucking editing and the music and okay, yeah, okay. that feeling again as you see Saul in the hospital squeezing his morphine, and or squeezing the nurse bell or something, and we're in the hospital. He's there with a killer mustache, and they're doing all these tests. The doctor comes in, tells him he's got high blood pressure, but it's not a heart attack. And and then we get into this scene with the hospital person that's pretty fucking cool and pretty fucking tense, and we start to see things from Gene's perspective on what he has to deal with in this world that he lives in now.
Sorry, would you mind?
I have a taxi coming.
It'll just take a moment. Could I have another look at your driver's license?
And what's so awesome in this scene is seeing how Bob Odenkirk plays this. He plays this so uncomfortably, like the awkward guy at the party, that his comedy and his improv training pay off so much in some scenes like this to make it awkward, because he's just sitting there with his mustache looking like a Mr. Show character, you know, and standing there like looking all awkward and crap. It's you expect
he wants to run, but how odd and suspicious would that be?
Exactly. That would just attract more attention, Joe.
Your current address?
It's fucking crazy. And then it just leads up, and it all pays off at the end where she enters all his information incorrectly, and ultimately it's because she's entering zeros instead of O's, or O's instead of zeros. And you see that it's all just a fucking, it's all a red herring, dude. Communism is just a red herring. Nick says, this has been nice, but I got to go. Thank you, and thank you for joining us, and we'll definitely be back to talk about Better Call Saul every week this season. Myself and Joe when he has nights off from work or when he is unfortunately sick. I will get sick Joe. I'll take sick Joe. He can't go out in public, but he can stick a microphone in his face. Dude, that hospital scene gave me anxiety. Me too. And I think a lot of this episode was about anxiety and like building up the anxiety of how you have to compartmentalize issues, to go to the issues program, the fucking issues. And you see him dealing with it through the whole fucking episode until he finally breaks at the end, or we see that break, even though this is the future. He breaks at the end, and that's when I think we're going to see a different tone next episode and see him more in full attack mode with all the stuff, like when he was circling all the con possibilities in the newspaper at the beginning of the episode. So, okay, so we hold on for one more second. We gets into the taxi with the guy with the Albuquerque symbol. We already kind of talked about this. The taxi driver gives him crazy eyes. Joe, and I know you, put on your Miss Cleo hat. Do you think this guy was really somebody? Was this a guy with a members only jacket? Was this the Sopranos guy that's going to kill Tony Soprano? Or was this just a taxi driver that he is paranoid because he has
Paranoid Saul.
Paranoid Saul, yeah. I tend to think so too. They really play with you in the scene though by having the taxi linger. It doesn't go
like zombie taxi driver too. Like, yeah, dude looked weird around the eyes.
It reminded me of in like an Oliver Stone movie when they just do weird flashes. I'm gonna go off camera for a second to you, where it's like we're talking to Joe and then suddenly they flash to just my eyes, like right here. And then they flash back to something else. Oh, I was supposed to go to another angle of you. I fucked that all up. But you know what I mean. He had those weird informant eyes going on right there. The taxi driver looked awfully familiar, but I can't put my finger on it. He's been in something, a sitcom or a bit character in another role, and it makes me go like this with my face. Yes, Renfield. He's got great flies. Sorry, I'm sweating. It's fucking hot in here. So it's fucking hot. It's like it's I love this shit. It's 11 o'clock, but it's still like 90 fucking degrees, and it's humid as fuck. I'm swimming in this office. No, DJ. Oh, have a good night, Sam. It is great to see you. And oh no, it's corrected. Sam's not out here. So let's continue here. So we come back in and we see this was weird for them to do because they don't usually do things like this, but I guess they do with Chuck's. This is something that Better Call Saul does that Breaking Bad didn't do quite as much. And I don't know if it's just because of the way they play with special effects a little bit differently. The the fire ember moment when Saul and Kim are in bed and we see the embers of fire or the sparkles or the fireflies fly through. It's a weird sort of transitional kind of moment that they do, and I really liked it, but it definitely stuck out as them playing. Like whoever's the editor or the graphic designer going, I want to do a fun transition here, and they did something, and I dug it, but I definitely made note of it. It was pretty fucking cool. Dog, cab, you smile. Stephanie stopped. That was the one moment in the episode where Stephanie stopped and goes, that was fucking cool. That was awesome. And so we come back in and we see all the remnants of the fire. We see the office. We see the files from Mesa Verde. We basically see all of the first 3 season information passing through. We pass through 3 seasons worth of information. I can't explain it, but I feel like this was the show telling us, okay, all that stuff's from the past. We're moving forward from this point now. All that stuff's over, essentially. And that's what the fire was symbolizing, that it was kind of burning the past of the fucking show. But I mean, fuck me in my fucking head for this crap. I could just be making it out of my ass. I am literally pulling it out of my ass. But it could, you keep throwing shit at the wall, something's going to hit occasionally. But I do think that was kind of what they're trying to go for as we're getting into the new world. And everything that Chuck did here is going to burn down Jimmy's world completely. As well as some music that we hear later on that I think has a very significant meaning to Jimmy and the 3 parts of Jimmy. Or at the beginning of the episode. I forgot to mention that at the beginning, but where in the song that he plays, where we're in the black and white scene, is something about 3 identities, and it's the 3 identities that we see in the show. We see Cinnabon, Saul, Gene. We see Jimmy, and then we have the ultimate Saul Goodman that we know he becomes for the Breaking Bad, for the prequelitis of it all. That ultimately he has to become this person that we saw in Breaking Bad eventually. So it's interesting, and again, it's fun to play with that by having different timelines or different character study moments of him at different points intersecting and having the same meaning that they're trying to get across with the different shits. And I feel like I had to say shits because I felt like I was getting kind of, shits because of my discussion with Joe before the show started. So we see the remnants of the fire, and it's not long after what happened. It's the next day because Kim still looks, they do pretty well. I watched the episode right before. They did pretty well with matching Kim's injuries. It looks very similar to the final episode of last season. But I also get called bullshit about him getting up in the bed and not waking up Kim. So he gets up, we get music, we get action music, we're back. He makes food, he makes coffee, shit's happening, not cooking meth, but shit's happening, everyday life stuff, picking up paper, putting a half a gallon of milk into cereal, and not working, circling for jobs, where he can manipulate people. And then we eventually get Howard calling, and he ignores the phone call.
I'm trying to reach Jimmy. If you would please let him know. I really need to talk to him. It's Chuck.
And I love that music tone is like Willy Wonka. So let's go into the live motherfucking chat for a second here. Who's Phil? I'm at work, but I'm listening. I love Jimmy and Kim's relationship, but we know it's not going to end well. Whose social did Gene Cinnabon use? What was that, Chuck's social? No, I think it was the information that he got from the fixer guy from the Jackie.
The one he to Walter. And...
Exactly. The guy that can get you to disappear, but you can only do it once. Jimmy, have a good night, Jimmy. Great to see you. Great to see Bubs. Hopefully your night at work is not too annoying, and we're making it a little sillier this evening. So Howard calls, and I know this is an episode. I'm like, make this episode silly. That's dealing with his brother committing suicide in a self-burning situation. It's not very goofy, but we do our best here. So Jimmy's in the car, the music shifts, the mood shifts, and everything kind of suddenly gets serious. And Howard's there. Jimmy gets the scene. Excellently acted by Bob Odenkirk. You can just see the destruction in his face as he's riding up, and as he's driving there, running there in the situation to try to figure out if he can do anything. because once you know that, even if you know you can't do anything, you're going to try anything you can fucking do to get there and to fuck up the situation. So I don't know. Joe, I mean, what else can we say about this moment right here? Bob Odenkirk nails it, dude. And I mean, we said this for 3 seasons. Isn't it? It's amazing that I never knew he had this gear with all the comedy stuff he did. It never occurred to me that Bob Odenkirk could be an awesome fucking actor like this. And
Never.
yeah, it's pretty fucking crazy. So the stuff that he pulls off on this show, and even on Breaking Bad, that's the thing. Like, Saul Goodman was an excellent character, but I didn't think they could go this deep with the character. And it's almost like a bet, like they bet each other. Can we do this? Can we go this deep with this character? I think we could. Okay, so Howard's there.
Kurt Sutter, they wanted to work on Mayans, but Fox was like, no, we want you to do this other shit, executioner shit. All right. I'll write 5 episodes for you.
Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, a season.
We'll see how that goes. We'll definitely see how that goes. Okay, so let's listen to a little bit of some audio here of Kim trying to comfort Jimmy on the bench.
So, he says it started in the living room. Somehow one of the lanterns was knocked over, and then the inspector says it was over fast, smoke inhalation, so he didn't suffer.
I'm sorry. Did no one ever suffer in the history of the world? And I love how Saul calls him. He didn't suffer. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna say that.
Yeah, they're gonna say that. They're always gonna say that. Someone does a joke about that. I forget who it was. They died peacefully in their sleep. How do they know? I'm stealing the joke. This isn't my joke. As far as they know, you could be sleeping and then you wake up in the middle like. No one's dying peacefully in their sleep. So Kim comforts him on the bench. It's a really sick scene. It's very emotional. This music is very noir style, dark. It suits the scene. It's setting this very dark mode, and it's very telling. I think when we look at this whole season, this episode will be very telling on the decisions that Jimmy makes moving forward and how he studies all of this and moves forward from Chuck's death.
Did you see the backyard?
And this is key right here. He already knows. He's
His microwave.
He knows at this point that Chuck did this on purpose. And the last time he talked to Chuck, people were saying this in the live chat, the last things that they said to each other were, Joe, I don't really give a shit what you do. You never really meant anything to me. That's basically what Chuck said to him. Jimmy, you never really meant a lot to me. I feel a lot better now. I don't need you. And you never really meant a lot to me. Stop pretending to be nice to people. Stop apologizing. Stop trying to be a good person and do the fucked up thing and then try to make better. You're never going to make better. Own that you're a dickwad and stay the fuck away from me, is what Chuck said to him. Thanks, bro. That's sage advice. We can all hope to have brothers like Chuck in our lives. We can all hope to have that kind of fucking support in our life from our older brothers and our parents and our friends and our fucking significant others. We can all hope to have that kind of love that Chuck has for his brother. Fucking piece of shit asshole. And I've seen bits and pieces of Odenkirk and Mr. Show. Funny stuff. He's hilarious. Bob and Mike are great. Bob Odenkirk is one of those guys that's been in so many fucking things. It's incredible. He's not the same thing, but I equate him sometimes from his comedic standpoint to Phil Hartman, where he's just in so many small parts here or there that you don't realize and just kills every role that he's in. Okay, so Kim talks to him. She wants to get him out of there and get him out of the situation. But again, it's when you're in these kind of fucking horrible, fucked up moments, it's tough to leave that bench, dude. It's tough to get out because once you leave the bench, it's already done. But once you leave the bench, it's all done. You're out of the situation, and all of this plays through with the characters. And so we need a little break from all this shit. We need a break from this downtime. Let's go to another person's downtime. Let's go to Mike. We see Mike at the toll booth We see that head. The head's looking good. He seems to be happy. Well, as happy as Mike gets. And he takes a sigh of relief as he's done with this stupid fucking job.
It, huh?
Yeah,
Shift over.
looks that way. You take it easy.
So, the boss says he's gonna want the windbreaker.
Of course he does.
And it's interesting, Joe. I don't know if this was the only time, but it looked really weird seeing Mike with short sleeves. So it looked really weird seeing Mike with short sleeves. So then we're off to Mike with his granddaughter and Joe.
What's wrong with it?
Joe,
You're standing on it.
I gotta do
I
it.
think so.
I gotta do it.
Look down. You're standing on it.
Really?
Hey.
Hey.
Okay. Fine. Right there. Fine. You gave the kid enough lines. Cut the scene.
You two having fun?
5 more minutes, please.
5 more minutes, but that's it.
Hey, baby.
I'm horrible. Whatever. You can say you can fucking make fun of me all I want. I'm harsh to kid actors. They could have cast a better kid. The kid wasn't great. The kid wasn't a great actor and took me out of the scene a little bit. She was all right with Mike, but mommy, please. It almost sounded like I was watching a commercial at a couple times. Mommy, can I please go to Chunk E. Cheese, please? So I don't know, minor point, but I did make note that they gave the little girl a few too many lines. I can't not call it out. I can't call it out on every other show and then whistle past the graveyard here.
Good comedy sketch about if a child actor
Later, Muspuss.
when they win awards like that, like best actor awards, best supporting actor awards, and like it's like, wow, if children are doing your job better than you, you're pretty fucking shitty at your job.
Yeah, I forget who that is, but I recognize that bit as well. Corey, have a good night as well. Lindsay, I love that scene between Mike and Kaylee, but it's heartbreaking. Thanks, Breaking Bad. It's heartbreaking. I know. And I liked Mike in that scene, and I did not like the scene, but I do have to point out that I made note of the little girl's shit. The kid in Breaking Bad was better, and she didn't even have to say anything, really. So Mike is home. He's looking in the mail. He gets his letter from Madrigal, his paycheck. He looks at it's 10 grand. He's like, the fuck? I'm getting paid 10 grand from this company. This is too easy. What kind of fucking shit is? And he thinks for a second, but then he goes, nah, fuck it. I'm just going to earn my 10 grand. And I'm going to sit down on my ass, earn this check, and watch some baseball. And again, this show's not afraid. For the next 5 minutes of this show, we basically get a full, I'm exaggerating, it's probably 2 minutes. We get a full spinning shot, Joe, of Mike going around in his chair. Just watching baseball, showing how fucking bored he is. And you know what I was thinking when I was watching that scene before I figured out what the fuck they were doing? I was going, I'm kind of bored watching the back of Mike's head here. It's a little uncomfortable.
I wasn't. I was wondering what was going to happen next. Where the action picks up for this show. Him and when you get into like, what's his name? Hector or some shit?
Nacho.
Like when you get into them two, that's where you start getting into a little bit more of your action-y shit. So.
Yeah, and it's going to even it off. I didn't mean I was bored with the scene. I meant I felt like I felt the same way in a sense that you said. It just verbalized it a little different. What's going to happen next? I could tell that Mike's not just
Let's the Mike shit already.
Yeah, let's get to it. Let's get to what Mike's shit's about to happen here. And so he's like, I'm gonna call Madrigal, and he does that television thing. Ding! Television trope 9,388. That information at any time, any place other than television will give addresses. I don't care if it's 1990, whatever. I've tried that before. Maybe in Arizona it does it, and I'm wrong. But I've tried it before, and I don't think 411 ever gave addresses.
For a business, it will.
Oh, it will. Okay. Perhaps I'm stand corrected. And I've more tried it for people's houses because I've seen that in the movies. You know, could you give me the address with that number too? You see that so much in movies, and I've tried it and it doesn't work.
Did he call 411? Do we know it was 411 he called?
I guess because he called information for a phone number.
Huh.
Maybe. I don't know. He called 411. I just assumed. And the kid in Breaking Bad's granddaughter was better. He's still alive. I'm about to watch it. I never tried 411. I know it's 411. I was going to say when Saul was looking in the want ads earlier, the want ads were a place where you'd look for jobs before Indeed and Monster existed. The 411 was a place that you would call to get phone numbers. You would have to be like, can I have a number for Joe Dirty Locks and Lynn? I think, and you'd have this, and you'd set up this weird conversation sometimes where you'd be bargaining with this. Eventually, it got to be a computer recording, but like in the early days of 411, or like when I was a kid, and I remember when I was calling it, you'd have these conversations where you try to figure out together especially if you got a good operator, who the person you're trying to call is. So I
try the one on Washington. Okay, try the one on Hamilton Street. Yeah. Okay, try the one on
well, there's a Dirty Locks that in Saugus now that used to live in Lynn. Could I transfer you to that number, please? Okay, sure. You know, it was a very helpful, you know, when you were bored, you could spend some time talking to the 411 operator. It was a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss it. Unlike Blockbuster, which we saw in this show, which I don't miss, late fees and rewind fees and fuck you fees, that I feel like that's all wasted money, and Blockbuster can still go fuck themselves. But
yep.
Andrew Jackson says, I have gotten addresses from 411 back in the day. Amanda Kane says, Phil, you're an idiot. You didn't say I'm an idiot. 401 information, house numbers, addresses, and shit. Phil, I'm a masshole too. What the fuck are you talking about? I swear I've tried it and they said no, but perhaps I'm just too sketchy. Perhaps the way I go about it, I'm not. I could never be a private dick. I could never do that. I could never stalk anybody. I'm fucking awesome. And so if I stand corrected, I guess. Welcome Andrew Jackson, fellow masshole, and Amanda Kane. Linda, my husband pointed out that he could have sworn he saw Jimmy circle an ad for Beneke Fabricators. Skylar White. It's funny. I wanted to freeze frame there for a second and look at the ads. That could be an interesting way of bringing Walter in if they bring him in through Skylar. Sam says, ew, no, Skylar. So we get the full spinning shot of Mike watching baseball, and we get the information on Madrigal, and then we go back to Jimmy's trying to wash dishes, and Kim and Howard are on the phone, and God, fucking shit. This was the moment in the episode where I almost go to emotional, because whenever I see this stuff, I just... Not the show after Breaking Bad that the commercials kept trying to tell me. After Better Call Saul, I mean. They kept trying to tell me, this show is going to be like The Big Lebowski in a television show. I'm actually going to quote The Big Lebowski here and say, yeah, we're not bereaved. We're not idiots here. But like, it's so fucked up. You know, I don't want to talk about death too much, but this episode's about death, so we can't fucking help it here. So... one of the shittiest parts, yeah, people dying sucks, but it also sucks that in that moment, right after you're dealing with some of the most tragic fucking losses in the world, you're having to deal with this big financial fucking transaction and also this big public proclamation shit, and all that shit doesn't mesh. Dealing with fucking losing people can be damn fucking hard for everybody, no matter who you are, what you're dealing with, what kind of person you are. Fucking losing people fucking sucks. And then having someone go, asking you questions like, hey, can you, what do you want this to say? What do you want here? Oh, can I charge you here? This is going to cost you $10,000 here. And jacking you at every fucking point in time, any place, fucking sucks too. And Howard's feeding right into this, and Jimmy in this moment in this scene being like, I want to tell you the obituary. Because later we know that Howard feels guilty, so he's trying to show that he really loved Chuck and show all this good stuff, but his shit's fucking with Jimmy's shit. And it's a horrible scene in the way that it feels real to me, Joe. It felt really real.
Yeah, because he looked up to Chuck like a big brother too. So in a little bit of a way, he kind of feels like, I don't know, in his own fucked up way, like a brother to Jimmy.
Yeah, like an older brother to Jimmy. Like he has some sense of ownership on now that Chuck, and maybe that's how Hamlin becomes more of a character. He tries to help Jimmy to get his license back. because we know that Jimmy eventually does get the license back within a year, but Howard could help orchestrate that, or a name change. I don't know, no, whatever. But to kind of take on that role with Jimmy at this point. But Jimmy won't not after what happens at the end of the episode, though. Oh, we got a voicemail. Awesome, Sam. We will play the voicemail at the end of the recap. And before we head off, if anyone else wants to leave a voicemail, 781-990-8509. Also leave a text message if I don't get to your motherfucking chat. So Howard reads it nervously, and it's really wonderful.
It's Howard. I think you should talk to him.
Lindsay says, Howard is a gigantic turd. Is anyone surprised he didn't include Jimmy? I didn't even think about that. He never says survived by his brother.
Wanted to get Chuck's obituary into the paper before.
Let's listen to that. I want to make sure I didn't.
But I'd really like to run it by you, if that's okay.
Do it.
Go ahead.
Great. Okay. Charles Lindbergh McGill. A towering figure in the Albuquerque
When Howard said Charles had respect for the law, I laughed my ass off, says Lindsay
community,
Klein.
who built one of the leading law firms in the Southwest, was taken from this world tragically and suddenly last week. Son of Ruth and Willard McGill, Charles was born and raised in Cicero, Illinois, outside Chicago.
This guy plays that,
Charles graduated
like dickhead, like I'm a straight hit, blah, blah, blah. Like he does that voice so well.
School.
That boss from Office Space voice.
In his undergraduate years at the University of Pennsylvania, Charles led the debate team to national championship years running and won the Larkin Prize. He was editor-in-chief of the Law Review.
And the look on Jimmy's face through all of this is just
first
dead.
year moot court competition at Georgetown Law, where he went on to graduate magna cum laude.
Dead.
After clerking at both the Delaware Court of Chancery and United States Court of Appeals.
And I don't know what Jimmy's exactly thinking about in this moment. To me, what I want to think that Jimmy's thinking about through all of this, through this whole moment, through all this emotion, Joe, is I think Jimmy's thinking, I don't give a fuck. Fuck Chuck at this point. And
yeah, he's accomplishments before. He doesn't need to hear this shit.
Yeah, and I think at this point he's done. He's already broken Saul at this point in his head. He's holding it together. He is like the Hulk, ready to break out right now. He's just
obstacle left.
Yep, exactly. Biff.
What's her?
Kim.
That's the one.
That's the one. Bernie the Burnt Biff voice. Yeah, it's a Biff voice. Yes. So Howard reads it nervously, shaking in the office, probably drunk, writes everything. Jimmy tries to hold it together. He's frozen. Hamlin is moving. He's being a penis. She and Kim, after all of this, after Jimmy just kind of puts down the phone, Kim takes over and says, that's fine, whatever, hangs up. Kim tries probably, again, one of the most realistic scenes that you're going to get in a show. And I don't think every show can pull this off, Joe. They have a scene here that has zero dialogue. Zero fucking dialogue. Kim pulls out shot glasses, puts them down, and they take shots. And they just keep taking shots till she passes out, and he just sits there all fucking night. And when we've gone through some serious situations, I think that's basically exactly what we've done. You just sit there, you take shots, even with you passing out on my shoulder like that.
Mm-hmm. Head in your lap.
Head in your lap, yeah. It's true. It's true story. So in the next part of the episode, we move on. And we're in Nacho and Hector and Gus in the ambulance. And the ambulance people show up. Gus and Nacho are left alone, and Gus walks away, heads towards the car to make a phone call. Nacho is trying to drop the pills that he was going to use to poison Hector from last season in sewer to ditch them so he has no evidence of it. And while Gus is talking on the phone, Gus comes over and he's like, you have to come with me. We have to go meet the boss and we have to go for a ride. We see a bunch of the, of chicken signs, chicken posters, polo signs, and we see Nacho's freaking out, all things considered, because of what just happened with Hector, because not knowing his life, but mainly because he has these pills in his pocket that show that he's fucked if he's found it, because he tried to kill a boss, essentially, even though a boss that people hate. So Nacho's brought in, or a captain, anyways. So Nacho's brought in to talk, and they have this conversation. They have a conversation about Hector. Oh, I was going to play it? I was going to play it, and I recorded it, but I realized it was in Spanish. So let's play it. Let's play it in the background.
Pero a ti no. Ser compadre de Tuco. Es buena onda. El compadre de Tuco.
I wish I could speak Spanish, but I can't. Or I can understand it partially, but I couldn't follow it. But thank goodness for subtitles. They say that Hector had a stroke. They give Nacho some more power to take up his pickups and stuff. And they say they know him. They've heard of him, whatever. And keep business as usual. When he leaves, they basically say to each other, Hector sucks. And how do we deal with him? And Gus is like, no wars. Wars bring chaos. There's got to be another plan.
Chaos brings the DEA.
Yep. And there's got to be another plan to deal with this situation. And we kind of lead that there is going to be a different situation. Sam is fluent in Spanish. Sam, translate for the live motherfucking chat so I can read it.
Ignacio. Don Héctor tuvo un derrame cerebral, no sabemos cuándo volverá. Pero escúchenme. El territorio de Salamanca casi queda el territorio de Salamanca. Nada cambia.
Territory must stay. Salamanca.
Las colectas continúan igual.
What was that, Jeff? What'd you say, Jeff?
Said Salamanca territory has to stay Salamanca territory. Things got to continue as they have been.
Debe ser exacto.
Exactly.
Si alguien cruza una línea, ustedes los paran. Tienen una entrega mañana por la noche. Lo recogen, lo empaquetan.
Tonight, you bring it, you package it, and you ship it.
Yep, everything stays the same. Yes, Sam in the chat says the same thing. Listen to me, the territory will stay within the Salamancas. This is a tragedy, but things will continue.
Bien. Todo como lo han hecho antes.
Everything will be exactly the same.
Do you understand?
An arrival will come tomorrow.
Si hacen esto correctamente, las cosas podrían ir muy bien para ustedes. Lárguense.
So then he leaves, and then they turn to each other and they have their own discussion about how much Hector sucks and about how to deal with Hector.
Ese viejo cabrón siempre ha sido un problema.
Yeah, that guy was always a fucking problem. Or that fucking asshole was always a problem.
Pero mantiene su casa en orden. Gustavo.
What do you think, Gus?
¿Qué piensas?
Alguien se moverá contra los Salamancas. Lo que trae la guerra. Lo que trae el caos. Lo que trae la DEA.
Okay, so let's go in the live chat. The bastard was always a problem. Ben says, when Gus ended his statement to Bolsa with war leads to chaos and chaos leads to the DEA, it definitely felt like a setup for Hank showing up within the DEA later in the season. Sam continues, everything will still be in order. Someone will be coming for the Salamancas, what comes is war, chaos, in the DEA. Who is coming? I think from what we've seen in previews for this season, slight spoiler if you don't want to hear it, but they've been in pictures. Tuco's cousins, the twins, I believe, are going to be showing up. Maybe they could be showing up as part of that crew to fill out the numbers or something. We'll have to see about that. But very interesting stuff. Do you think we'll see Hank in the DEA as well, Joe?
Yes. That dude's everywhere right now too.
Yeah, he is. He is. He's definitely never turning away a quick paycheck or something like that. So so Nacho goes to the water like Dave Chappelle in Half Baked to throw away his joint, and he tosses the drugs, and he will play the game. And then we see someone is tracking Nacho, like totally tracking Nacho, and I believe that's one of Gus's guys. People.
Yeah, that's the lab guy.
Yeah, that's the lab guy.
Breaking Bad.
Yep, that's the guy that it's hard because I guess he lost a lot of weight before the time
He's
of Breaking Bad.
now, too.
Oh no. This is before Joe. He must have gone on the Atkins for a little while.
I know, but he's a little older now, right?
No, he's younger. The character's younger though.
Yeah.
We're thinking 3-dimensionally here. So the character's young, and character's younger. So we just have to think he went through a workout phase after this time, before the time we saw him in Breaking Bad. So good for him. He's eaten well since his Breaking Bad days. So we come back in on a house, a nice one. And this is where we get into this total side story here. We see a nice man, a bald man, and we see some kid come up to him that's going to fix his bike, and he says it's busted. The kid is like, can I fix your chain? I'll fix your chain, and I'll do it yourself. And then we see the chain gets fixed. We see it all gets set up that this guy gets to a car and his car is dead. But it ultimately ends up being that Mike just sets up a guy that looks somewhat like him to take his place and take all his information to be able to get into Madrigal to check out what their security's like, to basically see who he's working for. And yeah, we talked about this earlier. Joe, did you think the car was going to blow up?
Yes.
Yeah, I think everybody did, and I think they knew that fucking shit. And so it didn't. The guy tried to start the car, didn't start. It's dead. And then it's also, we see Mike, and Mike is at casing Madrigal. We see him in the kitchen, and we have an interesting discussion going on in the kitchen.
In the break room, yeah.
In the break room.
Bruce had the speed. He could kick you before you saw him move.
You ever watched the Liston fight?
All right. We're talking about what? Boxing? Because that's something else?
No, we're talking about a street fight.
Street fight? Yeah, great. So Bruce can kick.
No, we're not talking about a movie fight. We're talking about weight. We're talking about reach.
Boxing is a sport. Martial arts is life and death.
Look, I don't care how fast you are. Muhammad Ali hits you, you're going down. That's a fact.
Well, if he hits you, Bruce Lee, he knows the anatomy. He's got the moves. He's going to find an opening.
Without power, the opening doesn't mean squat. How much does he weigh?
I don't know. Maybe $130.
Ali was the heavyweight champ. He's got at least 100 pounds on Lee.
Bruce feints for Ali's head, but he goes low and he sweeps him to the deck. Ali goes down hard. It's all over.
Do you have a gun?
I'm sorry?
Does Bruce Lee have a gun? Because if he doesn't, it's Ali in 3 minutes or less.
See? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, Joe. Where the tail of the tape here, Joe? Bruce Lee versus Muhammad Ali, and we'll take he said, have you seen Ali against Liston? So we're going to take young Ali, the fast Ali, him at his prime, against Bruce Lee in is it a street fight, or is it like an MMA fight? An MMA fight between Muhammad Ali and Bruce Lee. Muhammad Ali wins because of size, right? Like alone size can overpower him.
The reason why there are weight limits in these sports.
Yeah. Bruce Lee's awesome. He's very quick, but Muhammad Ali has 100 pounds on him and is quick as shit.
So when I was wrestling in high school, they have all the divisions are like a 10, 15 pound, difference, right? If you weigh 1 pound over the limit, you get put into the next division. And that was until you reached 189 pounds. Everything over that was heavyweight. So I weighed like 265, but I was going up against like 350 pound fucking 6'6", seniors when I was a fucking sophomore. There is a big fucking advantage to size.
Yeah.
And that's why they have weight classes.
And I mean, it's one
argument is, and you see it all the time when some of these boxers go up one weight class or down one weight class. They can either dominate or get their asses kicked.
Yep.
Sometimes they do just as well because they've put on the weight to be in that other class. But if you go into that class, a class or two up, Bruce Lee to Muhammad Ali, heavyweight to fucking light feather,
bantamweight,
whatever,
like bantamweight. Yeah, bantamweight.
There's a big difference. There's a big
And it's okay. And I'm not saying Bruce Lee couldn't take down someone of that size, but you're also dealing with someone that moves.
Muhammad Ali.
Right. One of the fastest on their feet boxers of all time that really knows how to react and move.
Also knows anatomy.
Knows how to fight. This is young Ali. This is young, quick Ali.
Anatomy. Shit. Kidneys, liver, fucking stomach. head like.
Yeah,
what?
I'm a Bruce Lee fanboy when in these fight competition things, but Bruce is overmatched here because Bruce is faster, much faster, but Muhammad Ali's not fucking slow. Young Ali is not fucking slow, and he knows how to fight, and he has at least 100 pounds on him, or at least about 100 pounds. Like, I'd have to look at the actual weight, but yeah, about 100 pounds on him. It's exactly what Mike says, as Justin says. Hank is coming for a fun run. Gus realizes he needs to keep the DA away. DJ also says, I totally agree with Mike as well. Sam says, my dad wrestled from when he was 5 through college. I didn't know you wrestled, Joe. How long did you do it?
A few years in high school, that's it.
Yeah, I've seen the pictures to prove it. Well, maybe we'll get Joe to show some images on the show later on.
Heavyweight and junior. I was heavyweight, and I was junior varsity and varsity my sophomore year.
Yeah. For next show, we'll put Joe shows wrestling photos on the super chat wheel. So.
Nobody wants to see me in my wrestling uniform.
Sure. Yeah, well, fucking big donation to get Joe in his wrestling uniform. So Mike is listening, and Mike joins in, and then we see Mike get the cute little cart, and he takes control as music kicks in. He goes around, grabs the invoices, cases the whole place, goes through the trash. Just a great set that they have as the warehouse here. He stops at some workers, calls one guy over, yells at him, and acts like the boss, and sees how much he can punch it.
Ramirez, team leader.
Yes, sir.
So, Ramirez, what do you think you're up to?
We're just pulling an order.
And he sees how easy he can just manipulate these guys over to just leave boxes empty for them to go at. And Mike, eventually at a point in time, you can see as he's going through the scene, at first he's being careful, and then he's realizing that he doesn't have to be. So he's being brazen about the shit he's doing, just like looking at the camera, basically giving the camera the finger while he steals shit. So we go back over. Mike returns the stuff he had, and he used to the guy he stole all the information, and he gets into this whole situation where he starts yelling that the security sucks.
Where did you find it? I need to talk to your manager. I waltzed through security with someone else's ID. Nobody gives me a second look. When the rightful owner shows.
Oh, we have Joe wears a singlet for $50. We'll talk to Joe off air about that. We'll try to get that on the wheel.
There's no facility-wide badge check. I find access doors left unlocked or propped open, passwords written on Post-it notes. Warehouse workers are using pen and paper instead of electronic inventory devices, which leaves you wide open to pilfering. You got duplicate routing numbers on cargo, surveillance camera blind spots on the north and the east side of the floor, inventory documents that are going into the trash instead of being shredded, not to mention loading equipment being driven at unsafe speeds, and crews.
I'm having flashbacks to every boss I've ever had in my life yelling at me for all the shit I've done wrong here.
Regarding
hold on. Who are you?
this just sounds like every manager I ever had at food service just yelling at me about everything. Your station's dirty. You're forgetting this. You can't clean. You can't do shit. You came in late. You break too long. You ate the food in the dining room. You're supposed to eat it out back. You smell funny. Here, shave. You know, I shaved this morning. I don't care. Shave your fucking beard dry. You hairy fucking Teen Wolf son of a bitch. I mean, it just goes on and on. But Mike rips the fucking company apart. The guy's like, I don't know who you are. We don't need security. He's like, call your mummy. Call your mummy. Tell her Mike wants to talk to you. Call your fucking mummy. So we're almost at the end of this episode. We're sort of riding towards the end here. So speaking of, we go to the car ride home, car ride to see Howard. And here we go at our big end scene here between Howard and Jimmy, or the end of our episode. Howard, throughout the episode, it's kind of tough to feel I'm trying to put Howard together throughout the series, Joe, because he started off as a character I just simply hated, and I thought was not as a character, but I just hated the character. But sometimes I think the more insecure the character feels, the more he puts that fake douchery out there. And I think he was a douche earlier in the episode because he was feeling shitty about feeling responsible for what happened to Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
And he brings Jimmy in here to be like, Jimmy, I have to confess to you.
I think I owe you the truth about Chuck.
The truth?
Those lanterns.
The truth about Chuck?
He was living in that house without electricity for the better part of 2 years. He knew how to use those lanterns.
And you knew, too.
He was careful. I saw it. I know you did, too. There was never a problem. I know it's a terrible thing to... I don't think what happened was an accident.
Well, duh.
You probably heard Chuck was retiring from HHM. But that's not the truth. The truth is that we had a disagreement, and I pushed him out. I made him go.
Chuck was sick for years. And after the bar hearing...
The bar hearing had nothing to do with it.
Thanks for chiming in, Ken.
Okay.
The fact is, he started getting better after that. He took more of an interest in the firm. He came to work. We could leave the lights on. He was improving until the thing with the insurance. So it wasn't the bar hearing.
The insurance?
Oh, Joe, I think you're right here. He goes, the insurance? And this is, okay, I don't know if people remember this. I have a memory of this, and if I'm incorrect, please correct me. But didn't Jimmy was the one that called the bar association to say to check out their insurance because of Chuck's mental situation, right? Right, Joe? I'm not making that up, right? Okay, the smile of Joe and the nod. I thought I do tend to make things up in my head sometimes. We've all seen me do it here on this show. So I thought I might have been making that up, but yes, I'm glad that I remembered that correctly. Which, Joe, it's weird to me that watching this, the first season of season 4 here of Better Call Saul, that we've been doing we've been doing this for a while, that we've done this whole series. It's fun when we go back, shows that we've started and caught up on, but this is a show that we're going to do like from beginning to end, 5 seasons of this show. It's going to be a lot of fun here. We're in the downward stretch of the second to last season, the penultimate season of Better Call Saul, because I don't think it's going to go past season 5.
Ridiculous thing.
There's no reason for it to. If they want to do more, they can expand the universe with other story, other character.
Yeah.
Gus, early life, down South America.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the most logical next place if they wanted to do something else. I would prefer, the Walt Jr. spinoff series. No, Walt Jr. and Skylar, the future years. That's the series I want to see.
Dad taught me how to cook meth.
And it was good.
I mean, God knows he's done enough for me. But he kept pushing, and I got my back up.
What about the insurance?
It was our malpractice insurance. They found out about Chuck's condition and raised our rates. Chuck went ballistic. He wanted to go to war. I drew a line.
Discrimination.
He wouldn't back down.
War, Peacock.
So I
Heavy
forced him out.
casualties.
It never occurred to me that I could hurt him.
Oh, Howard.
He always seemed so strong. But he wasn't. I think he did what he did because of me.
Because of you dirty bastard.
Bear that cross, bitch.
Yeah, here it comes. Drop it. Drop that shit onto me, motherfucker.
Fucking Kim gives him like a
Howard, I guess that's your cross to bear.
Ha ha ha. Andy Western says, I am such an issues guy. I do. I have lots of fucking issues. Lots of motherfucking issues. Yeah, that's he says your cross to bear, and he goes and he makes coffee and starts whistling, and Saul Goodman.
To his old self.
Yep, exactly. Back to his old self. Okay, done with that. I mean, there's some, again, put the gum right on that hole, compartmentalize, move on. Time for the season to really start. Done with that shit. And I think a lot of this episode was about that. Done with that shit, moving on. What's the next stuff? And
wrapped up all the last season's questions. Okay, we got the old bastard out of the way. We got Chuck out of the way. Yep.
Yeah. Done and done. Holy shit, Joe. Let's play Sam's message first, but then we got a special surprise tonight. We got a special surprise, which I was hoping I didn't want to mention it before we got it. So I'm very excited about Sam's message here, and then we have a message from another special friend that I'm excited to talk to tonight as well. And so here we go with Sam.
Hey guys, I am still in the stream. It's a very good stream. This is Sam, by the way. I just have a couple of thoughts about this episode. It was especially weird to watch Jimmy react to his brother's suicide, especially considering I was in a very similar situation 2 months ago with my sister, because it's both coming from siblings who obviously care about their siblings, but their siblings are very toxic and there's a very strained relationship between them. So I was just wondering what you were thinking about Jimmy's headspace in there. Also,
yeah, it's tough. Before I go on to the second point, I just want to touch on that. That's one of the difficult things to deal with. When someone fucks you over, someone's weird and toxic to you, and then they pass away, you have to deal with a lot of shit. How do you send that person off with the way that you're feeling and make yourself, help yourself deal with it in the most healthy fucking way possible without giving in to be like, oh, it was a great person, they were an awesome person, and feeding into all that bullshit too, that when someone goes, you feel like you have to just say nothing but great stuff about them. I had to deal with a lot of that shit too with my mother passing, and Joe was there. He heard my eulogy that I said, which coupled all of that. You really need to combine that shit and celebrate the truth of it all. And I think what Jimmy's doing is unhealthy. I think what Jimmy's doing is just completely fucking avoiding and saying, fuck that, moving on, done with that, what the fuck you. And that's gonna come crushing down, as we see in the Cinnabon Saul age. Or did Walter make that all come crushing down? Maybe Jimmy was doing fine dealing with going on. He was fine and rich by just
Walter crushed him.
Yeah, Walter crushed him. Maybe he was doing fine compartmentalizing. I can't always compartmentalize. I'm bringing my own shit into this show. But yeah, so that's my answer to that, Joe. How about you, Joe? If you really had some pissed off energy about somebody, but they were important to you, how would you deal with how would you deal with that shit? Would you?
It would depend.
Depend on all. Yeah.
I guess there's just no reason to hold a grudge after someone's dead. Fuck it, they're dead. You won. Woohoo!
That's a good point. You won the battle. But that's kind of to my point as well. Once it's over, it's over. You can't make that person understand your point anymore. You can't hope that person changes anymore. It's done. The ticket's been punched. You're walking out of the park. Fast pass is over. You have to wait in the lines now. It's done. I mean, I was gonna keep going until someone stopped me, like a broken record with weird cliche type things. Anyways,
go ahead and talk all the shit you want about the dead person. The only people you're gonna hurt are the living.
Yeah. Kind of sucks we didn't get to see all of Chuck's funeral. It would have been interesting to see how Jimmy delivered his eulogy. Lindsay, I was thinking the same thing, that they sort of yada yada that, which was not strange. I mean, maybe Jimmy didn't even do that. Maybe it was just Howard. Maybe Jimmy kind of just sat there, and we kind of just went in and out of the funeral.
Yeah.
With Chuck officially out of the way, I think the beginning of the end of the series, so I won't be surprised if season 5 is the last. So let's play the rest of Sam's message.
With Hamlin's obituary, I mean, it was very interesting to see him emotional, and it was very well thought out. But it was kind of a slap in the face to Jimmy by not including him at all in it. So
Yeah.
I was just wondering what you guys thought of that, because I thought that was kind of petty and childish for him to do.
I didn't catch it at first when it came by, but when you say that, as soon as you said it, I was like, oh shit, she's right. And then when we listened back, I was like, oh fuck, she's absolutely right. Yeah.
Joe, I'm gonna copy your answer. I thought the same thing. I didn't catch it in the moment. It didn't occur to me. I was more just thinking from Jimmy's standpoint of putting myself in that moment and being like, I don't want to hear this shit. Fuck you. And I don't even know if Jimmy was occurring to Jimmy in the moment that he wasn't being mentioned in there. I don't think he heard one single word that was said. But now that you say that, it's very interesting that he didn't say that, or he didn't say anything survived from his ex-wife either, who was there. I don't think so. So it's interesting. He just focused on his accomplishments. So Joe, I guess our last thing we'll do of the evening, unless anyone wants to get in some last questions or comments.
Do you have another voicemail?
We do have one more voicemail from our good friend Big J.
Nice.
Yo, Big J here. Long time no speak, Phil. Dirty Joe. What are you doing, man?
First of all, I gotta back this up because I love some Big J, but I love how he calls you Dirty Joe. I love it.
Joe. Yeah.
Dirty Joe, Big J. Before we get to your message, I want to say lots of love from Joe and I to you. You're one of our favorite. We always like. If Better Call Saul only continues just for us to occasionally get messages from the wonderful fucking Big J, we're fucking psyched, dude. So lots of love to you and the family. So I'll shut the fuck up now and let Jay talk.
Yo, Big J here. Long time no speak, Phil. Dirty Joe. What are you doing, man? So happy the show's back, like you said, man. It's like all's right in the universe again, you know. I thought it was awesome the way it opened up, you know, in Nebraska with the fucking the hospital scene, man. That was real like creepy with the cab driver. I thought that really was the way to open it up, man. And just,
dude, it was creepy as fuck.
And how scared, how scared Saul was, you know, or Jimmy, whatever. And yeah, like you said, you know. It's the only show I know that nothing's happening, but you're still like intrigued, man. Just by, you know, it's like such a slow burn. I've been watching a lot of other shows lately. I got into a lot of other shows where it's just nonstop things going on. It's like nice just to have a show that makes you relax, you know, and you know it's going somewhere. So, glad to hear you guys are doing the show again. I'm glad the show's back, and I'll definitely be checking in with you guys for the season.
Fucking A, man.
All right, man. Oh, another thing was on that at the wake, because that's the one guy I didn't see. I thought it was cool how they brought back all the old boys and shit, man. That was a classy move. All right, guys. Let me hear your review. Enjoy.
Nice, Big J. Great to hear from Big J. It's always awesome to hear from you. It's an annual party when we get. That's one of the things one of the main things I was unhappy about the season getting put off a little bit. We didn't get our yearly check-in with Big J, and that's one of the awesome things about doing the show for this long and doing it with so many different other programs that we've touched in on. Because we do know some people check us out just for certain programs and certain discussions that we have, and that's why we always like to touch in on stuff we've done and never close the book on anything. So even
Big J to Game of Thrones up too, didn't we?
What was that? Yeah, we did. We definitely did. We definitely did. So hopefully we'll get to hear Big J in the final season of Game of Thrones as well. So everyone in the live motherfucking chat, you guys are amazing. Let's say some huge thank yous to everyone that is left in there. We've got Bernie, we got DJ, we got Sam, we got Ian, we got Lindsay, we've got Ben, we've got Hannibal. We had Mike earlier. We had Muspus. We had all of our good friends in the live motherfucking chat. Thank you for joining us for Better Call Saul. I will be back next Monday after the episode airs. I don't know if Joe's working next week, but we'll see. If he's not, he will probably call in from work and touch in on that. And you guys will have to listen to my babblery for a whole podcast. And I'll also try to get in again before then. This week's been weird. I might be moving pretty soon and packing up the studio, so things might be changing briefly, but I'll talk about that on a later stream. Joe, before I let you go, though, I did want to make one other announcement and to ask you to do something with me. CBS All Access just announced this week that there's going to be a new Star Trek series, and I want to do reviews of the Star Trek series, and I'm going to be doing and I do a lot of Star Trek stuff, and you and I don't often get to watch sci-fi programs together, and I'm saying there's going to be a Captain Picard Star Trek series if anyone hasn't heard. That's right.
7 seasons of Next Gen to burn through on that couch, Phil.
Yeah. So
it's a mystery science fiction theater.
So let's get into some Star Trek pretty soon, especially once Game of Thrones ends, and there's going to be a while for this Picard series to come out. So
can't wait to do season 1.
Oh god,
fucking yelling at Natasha.
Oh, that's gonna be horrible. So we're gonna start getting into some more Star Trek stuff because I'm hungry. I don't care if we get 2 views on it. It's time for some Star Trek. Lindsay, we'll see you next week. And DJ, oh thank you. You make me blush. I will talk to you later. I will talk to Lindsay later. I'll talk to Sam later. I will talk to Bernie. All of you guys next week, and hopefully Joe as well. Joe, thank you so much as always for joining me. I know you're feeling kind of shitty and a little tired, so I appreciate you putting up with my babblery tonight. Everyone, if you haven't already, and you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button, share the channel with a friend, spread the word about Better Call Saul. You know, so many shows get that choo-choo train stuff with everyone jumping on the bandwagon. Better Call Saul may never get that, but it's always going to be one of the best shows on television. I don't care. It's great. It's fucking great. Fuck you. Fuck the haters. Can it be slow? Yes, it's awesome. It's slow, fucking beautiful, fucking magic. No, I know. Vince Gilligan could no. I like to think that even when someone I love does something shitty, I can call them out on their shittiness. And it hasn't gotten that. In season 4, doesn't seem like it's going to get in that direction. All my worries are relieved. Not that I had worries. My only worry is, what am I going to do with all this goofy energy until the next time I do a podcast? Because no one in real life wants to hear me talk. No one in real life wants to hear me babble. No one in real life wants to deal with this fucking silly bullshit. No one does.
I'm going to have a sandwich.
Yeah, see, Joe needs to get a sandwich. Joe's done. He can't deal with me. Ah! What's going on? Ah! Oh, fuck. Thank you, everybody. Oh, God. Can next Monday start already? We need more Better Call Saul because they dropped this whole fucking season. What the flying fuckburger is going on? More Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould television programs. Please, please, please. Ah!